All right, let's see. Am I working though? Of course, they don't want to tell me if it's actually working. All I get is a bunch of dots. All right. Nope, that's definitely not there.
You can't believe it.
What? That our new house is haunted by Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Hey, Jill. Hey, Kurt. Movies? I'll get snacks.
No.
I'll get snacks.
Nice.
No.
So it is working. Even better. All right, let's take this phone apart. So, come on. I just got home from work. I'm tired. But anyways, let's see if we can break some stuff. That could be fun. There we go. That'll give us a little more space. So problem with this phone is when you restart it, I think it's an LCD problem. I'll have to go see if I can get some LCDs, but I'm just going to take it apart and see if there's any obvious damage. Something I really loved is that I went and got a job. Where's my bit? At a repair shop, and basically I just try and figure out and troubleshoot devices all day long, which is what I love to do. I could easily do that if it actually paid good enough for, it's the problem is it never really pays good enough, just like at an entry level type position for that kind of stuff. That's why I'm going into networking. I think it's going to be a better paying field, at least, which more money is always better. I'll probably always keep this passion going, though, as a side project. Duke, where'd you put my jerk? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'll probably keep always just taking stuff apart just because it's fun. I'll probably start see if I can get just a steady flow of phones. I might, if YouTube ends up becoming a thing, I might just go and just buy, use broken phones off eBay. I'd really like to see if I can get a company and just hey, can I just give me random phones to fix under the sponsorship. I think this phone's been opened before, though. Judging by how much the charging port sticks out, I have a feeling that got replaced. iPhone 6s don't typically. I thought they had a rubber gasket, but this one doesn't seem to have it. So either they didn't have it, which I believe every iPhone 6s or 6 I've taken apart had it, or I'm just mistaken. It doesn't seem like that should be a thing, but anyways. In terms of my studies, they've been pretty good. Was doing a lot of the NAT training lately on the CCNA training, the Cisco training. I think my brain's still having a hard time wrapping itself around it, but we'll get there. Maybe it is the original screen. It doesn't have the typical QR codes from China that I'm used to seeing. So maybe it is a original screen. Interesting. But yeah, so the CCNA stuff is good. I have about 4 hours left, I think, of it. And then from there, I'm probably going to just continue watching the rest of the Microsoft server stuff. On top of paying a little bit extra to get the training labs on IT Pro TV. So they basically just have little labs that you can sign up for. I didn't want to do it at first just because I want to get a feel for how useful it was going to be and how useful the trainings were going to be. Come on. So I think it's been pretty good. The biggest complaint is that they kind of rush through it, but I think they expect you to read the textbook, do the trainings, and read the textbook, watch the video, and then also do the labs afterwards. So I think that's why I've been struggling so hard with it lately. No, I really wish I could just get some actual hardware that was inexpensive. I think the Cisco, like the older Cisco routers, required you to have a membership as well, which I don't want to pay for. So I'm not sure if I should just go buy a router and see if I can get around it, or if I should maybe just get like a Netgear router of some sort, or like something similar that has both layer 2 and layer 3 switching, so I can mess around with some of the command line stuff of that. It'd be more ideal to have the Cisco side of things, though. So we'll figure it out and see. Maybe I'll just go buy some stuff and figure out what happens. Am I missing a screw? Where did I put my screw? Oh, there it is. Come here, Mr. Screw. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I did see a guy with a server for $100. It was a Dell 710. I've been sending him an email today to see if I can pick it up, but we'll see. He might sold it already. I'm doubting it because he had a Reddit post from like a year ago stating that he was still trying to sell it. Else he probably would have taken his post down. Anyways, so I reached out to him, try to see if I can get that from him. It's going to be decent. I think I'd want to, if I could, upgrade the RAM a little bit. He said that he upgraded it from the quad core server CPUs to the 6-core, so it has dual 6-core CPUs, which I think there were 2 gigahertz around there. Obviously not a 3 gigahertz like we get nowadays, but I think it'll be sufficient for what I had planned. And since it's a 2U server rack, I might be able to fit 120 millimeter fans in it. I can't remember if that's going to be big enough. But if possible, I'm going to try and swap out as many fans as I can, just make it a little bit quieter. Noisy computers are never any fun. Luckily, I probably won't be running it all 100% of the time, but I will be planning on like creating a data server, so I'm going to get some hard drives. I might get some, just going to get as much as I can. This looks way too tight, so I think this is the original screen. Interesting. I'm not seeing your typical water damage, so that's good. There's no corrosion around the ports, so I think we'll be okay. Yeah, there's the water sensor. Yeah, it doesn't get any water damage. So I think the screen just went out on this one, or got damaged somehow. Someone I think they dragged their keys across it or something. Maybe they did that after the fact. Sometimes people get pissed off and just throw things and break them for more than they really should be. I mean, it could be a logic board issue. I'm gonna have to get a new screen and try plugging it in and see what happens. But more than likely, just the screen. I don't think I've ever had an actual iPhone with video issues. They usually have more issues than that. So that all looks good. Put all that back in. Perfect. What was the other thing I was studying recently? Microsoft Azure and Wow, I'm drawing a blank today. Active Directory. Finally starting to get a grasp on, like, I understood it just fine. Come on. Sometimes I'm finding with some of these iPhones, for some reason, like, you have to actually connect power, even though obviously it has a charged battery. You have to still connect power, and like, I think that's kind of like, it has to, like, it doesn't even have to charge up. It just plugs in, and then usually just powers right up. It's kind of one of those weird things with older phones. I'm noticing with older ones, even though I think I've seen it do it to an iPhone 8. I haven't done enough of the newer phones for me to really know about those. But come on, turn on. Yeah, everything's turned on. But yeah, so I always understood like Active Directory and its general purposes are, but like actually going through the actual information, it's been tedious. But it is what it is. It's good information. It's just a lot of information at the same time. Yeah, this thing's not even turning on for me now. It was showing up for a couple seconds, then it would shut off. Is this my USB-C cable? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, Active Directory is good. I know Cloud is a good alternative to it, just because of probably pricing, probably being the biggest thing. Because I don't think you think you have to host. I already have one in there. You have to host your Active Directory somewhere at your local server. I think with Jump Cloud, I think it's just all done in the cloud, so you don't have to worry about it, especially when you have a lot of logins that you need to give everybody access to, but you don't want to give them the master login. I could see that being a really important step in things. Is my iTunes showing this? Wow, I don't have iTunes installed. Okay. Let's see. Oh, man. I have to actually download iTunes through the Microsoft Store now. I forgot about that. I was hoping I could avoid it, but I have to open this and figure out. Let's see. Actually, it's probably a good thing that iTunes is installed through the Microsoft Store. It means it's better integrated and potentially going to have less install problems or driver problems, possibly, which would be good. It's never any fun to have to deal with those things. Used to have to deal with that so much, where we had to tell people like, okay, we're going to go manually install the driver that's on your computer already. I don't know why you can't just have a button. Hey, Apple, just tell the computer to uninstall and reinstall this. No, we have to actually guide the customer through the driver window, and I try and explain to them how to get there and how much of a nightmare that can be. I actually installed a lot faster than it used to. Probably because I don't have to install as many services, which is nice. Yeah, iPhone's definitely haven't shown up. Just trying a couple different permutations to see if I can get this to like us. I also started just looking through the pen testing service articles. A lot of the opening stuff is stuff that I've read before, and I think it might have been the security one. I think, or it might be the CISSP. CISSP is basically the blueprint on how to set up like your security stuff and like best practices. Nope, this phone's definitely a potato right now. I wonder if It's weird because I actually got it to power on earlier and it was like responsive, but I think the battery either completely died or something else happened. It did glitch out on me earlier. Try plugging the battery back in. Yeah, the pen testing stuff is interesting. It's I'm not to see if later on it's going to get more interesting. I'm just instead of watching Netflix, I'm actually just playing IT Pro TV all the time. As background noise even. When I need to do homework, I'll actually focus on the specific subjects I have. Otherwise, I'll just play as much IT Pro stuff as I can, or just podcasts and stuff like that. And I figure with enough exposure and interaction with it, I'll start to understand more and more, and I'll pick up on things, things that I would like. Oh, I didn't. What was that? And then I'll go back and rewind it if I need to. But this thing's being a potato. So that's why I've been listening to a lot of the pen testing stuff, just because it's interesting and it's stuff I'm going to want to know eventually. I did set up a bunch of virtual machines again, reset up some of the ones I was looking to get. Finally got, so I installed Parrot security software for Linux. Basically, they just Parrot security. They just took a whole bunch of the most used tools for Linux for pen testers and stuff, and just whacked them all into there. Made it super easy to interface. I'm excited to start digging through and seeing what tools and best practices there are going to be there. Like I've been using Wireshark, the TFTP server stuff. I'm going to see if I can get that set up. That's why I was wanting to see if I can get a Cisco switch, potentially, and set up some of that stuff and see how the logging parameters work. Maybe set up a breach of some sort and see if I can hack into it without actually knowing the stuff. Especially if I get an older system, I might not have all the up-to-date patches, which would make my life a little bit easier. I could start just seeing how you'd go about finding solutions for the things. Sorry, things distracted me. I just ripped off the screen just to see if I can get it to boot without the screen. I've had driver incompatibility issues before. I had a 6S Plus, is what it was. It was, for whatever reason, the replacement screens, when we put them on, that just was showing a blank screen, but the phone, you could clearly hear it was on. To me, it felt like just a potential driver issue. So I just connected the computer, restored it, and it for some reason fixed the problem. I'm just like, I have no idea why this fixed it, but it fixed it. Because, I know, like I said, I have a good foundation of this stuff and understanding of why a device is misbehaving. And honestly, I didn't have many options to begin with anyways. With it not even showing a screen and being potentially a brick. So it was interesting because my boss will I've noticed that she'll sometimes keep some of the more difficult cases for me, like for when I come in, and she'll just go, all right, see if you can fix these. And I'm just like, all right, this is the problem with it. Like we had an iPhone 8. Sometimes for some reason, the newer devices, they have a self-destructive feature. It's really awesome. Basically, the phone, if you don't unplug the battery before you start unplugging other things, sometimes the phone will just like, hey, I don't see anything plugged in. We should send all the voltage to those chips to make sure that it's actually receiving our signal. don't mind if it just melts those parts for us. It makes it so nothing works. It's fine, you don't have to worry about it. We fixed it. It's all on fire. You shouldn't have been in your phone and not realize that you need to have the battery unplugged. I couldn't imagine being like an Apple employee, like doing the repairs for these things. Like, hey, you forgot to unplug this. Congrats. You just fried that phone. Customer lost their data. Awesome. Hopefully they had a backup. Actually, that's in their terms and conditions when you set up repairs. They're like, hey, your data is your priority, is your own thing. We plan on wiping it as soon as it gets here. Good luck. That's another thing that I've always wished Apple could do is their time capsule they used to have. They used to have a time capsule where it had like a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte drive in it, and it would allow your Mac to automatically back up to it. I kind of wish Apple would have kept it around, or even Google would consider it, have it be an encrypted router with a hard drive in it, and have all your cloud data inside that hard drive as a possible, and then it would sync up with their own servers. Because it could do two things. One, it would take load off of their actual servers, and then two, it would allow the data to be local so that they don't have to rely on their slow internet to access their entire drive. I just thought that would be more efficient use of everybody's time, because Google wouldn't have to have as much load going on their side. But logistics of that could be messy, especially when data gets out of sync. I'm sure they have some algorithms, but to fix most of that stuff. But I guess they have it in multiple locations, so they have to keep that all synced up too. I know at Apple we sometimes run into that stuff. I think Apple buys their iCloud storage service from Amazon though. That's why they're able to say, yeah, all our data centers are all 100% green. And that's only like a small amount of data compared to what you're consuming with iCloud, but it's not our problem. That's not on us. Come on, Mr. Phone. All right, let's try doing this one. Actually, we need to do that one with this. So this phone doesn't want to go into DFU mode. I'm trying to think of other repairs I've done recently that were just like, I have no idea why this fixed it. Yeah. It's kind of fun. I love being able to. This job has really gotten me the confidence again of, getting my confidence of being able to just like, oh yeah, I do know all this stuff, and I have this insane amount of knowledge that not very many people really have. Normal people don't just, have I'm just trying to make sure I'm just trying to figure out what screws go where. I roughly know, but they're all the same size looking, and one just happens to be a little bit longer than the other, and you might just fry the board. You never know with Apple. It just works. I was actually in a meeting today at work at one of my jobs, and it was all about SquareTrade and how they, are like 80% of the companies that are, the big box stores and stuff. And everybody loves SquareTrade. Kind of surprised by their business model and if they're even able to make money off of everything they do. I guess they sell everything in mass and usually don't use it. Because a lot of the products, the thing that they don't tell you is that, hey, we're going to charge you an extra $100 to put insurance on your TV. Sounds great, right? By the way, the manufacturer is the one that covers it for the first year, and then we'll cover it the second year, if you even have the paperwork still by then. Because by that second year, after that first year, I'm not even sure if Target would keep the records that far back, at the store level at least. So if you've got to register it, you're gonna have a hard time. I'm just gonna put this phone back together, and then I'm gonna, I think I go to my repair shop on Friday. So I'll take it in there and swap out some parts and see what happens. Nothing cool happens. I just take it back where I got it from, put it in the bin. I don't know. I just like collecting phones and taking them apart and seeing if we can get them fixed. I don't know. I could probably move this down a little bit. There we go. So with the iPhone 6s, they open the cables are all at the top of the phone. And then every phone after the 6 and the 6, so starting with the 7, that one right there. Starting with the 7, they made it open up more like a book. So the cables are on the right side of the phone, which makes it interesting because when you're trying to open up a water sealed phone, you have to just be really mindful of all those cables and junk, because you never know if they're gonna if you're actually gonna rip them. I had a trouble with that when I took apart one of the iPads. Like I just accidentally went a little bit too far and ripped the digitizer and the LCD cables. No, yeah, I ripped both of them because they're like right next to each other for no stupid reason. I hate iPads, man. Like they're great and they're easy to take apart and repair, but there's so many like small steps you have to like really think about. Like, okay, where's the digitizer cable? And then when you take it off, just for like the digitizer, you have to go around and like clean up all the edges from the glue. iPhones, I usually just shove it all back together because I'm paid for how fast I can do stuff. People don't really care about their waterproofing or even realize it. I usually try to put the new gasket on there, get it at least 100 as close as I can, but some days it's just insanity and you just don't have time for it all. I know that sounds terrible, but it is what it is. Just try not to mess it up. Just try and get it out the door before it breaks more on me. But iPads are annoying because you have to really be cautious of if you leave any dust, because the LCD and the digitizer are separate. So that's why shops like ours are really great at repairing those, because we don't have to actually replace the screen at all. I mean, the actual display, the touchscreen part, that's a pretty cheap part of the products. Obviously, it's not going to be Gorilla Glass probably that we're sticking on there, but hey, it's better than the $300 Apple's going to charge you. So yeah, with iPads, you have to really be careful of the dust. You have to wear gloves typically just so you don't get fingerprints in places that you shouldn't. Just trying to see if I can get this to power on again, but it's pretty dead. So I think I'll leave it charging for like 20 minutes, see if any more life comes to it. But I think I need to replace the screen, or it's something actual logic board that's fried. I'd be kind of surprised by that, but these older phones, especially with the 6 being there first, were a little bit bendy. They didn't really fix that wire. I don't think they weren't able to fix it in time. The iPad Pro was the same way. The new one that came out without a home button, it was really bendy when the first gen, and the second gen they've actually improved upon it a lot. I'm kind of surprised Apple didn't get. I guess they don't sell very many Pros, but that was a huge problem. I'm surprised more people didn't get upset about it. I haven't taken part in any of the Pro iPads yet, but I heard that some of them have the glass and the screen fused together, especially the new iPad Pros. I bet they are, just because of they want to make sure the clearance is as small as possible so they can make the device thinner. The regular iPads, like, they have so much room on the inside. You could like hide a Apple Pencil in the side of it almost if you wanted. Like, I bet if they made I bet the Apple Pencil 2, if they made it just a little bit shorter, they could probably fit it easily inside of the regular iPad. It's so irritating when Apple's like, oh yeah, we don't have room for a headphone jack on an 11-inch iPad. Right. You guys are retarded. Just put it in there. Stop. Get over yourselves. But anyways, it's enough of me ranting. So yeah, I'll probably be finished with the video training part of my CCNA stuff. It's irritating because I've seen quite a few job opportunities that I would have been a good fit for, but because I just happen to not have like an actual degree in computers, the CompTIA, or there's something else that they were using. I'd have to look it up again. But anyways, it's just because I don't have that. They just, like, right out the door, they're like, no, we're not going to deal with you. And I'm just like, I have 7 years of experience. Do I really need that kind of certification? That's just retarded, waste of my time. So I don't know what to do. I might just go get it, but I really want to focus on the CCNA because that's actually interesting and actually going to be a challenge and actually be worth my time memorizing. Because stuff doesn't stick well for me. So I'm really hoping I can get a job before I have to, and then just work on it a lot slower for, everything else. But anyways, we'll get there and figure that out. But yeah, that's all I have. You guys have a good night. That phone, I don't think it's going to power on. I think I have to get a screen for it and see if it works. I'll figure something out with it. But anyways, you guys have a great night.